Chapter 5 continued. I have never in my life seen a dog catch a mouse, said Miss Nordley. She was sitting next to me. He's a special dog, I told her. I imagine so, she said back. When Dixie stood up there in front of the whole church, wagging his tail and holding the mouse real careful in his mouth, holding on to him tight, but not squishing him. I believe that mud's got some retriever in him, said somebody behind me. That's a hunting dog. When Dixie took the mouse over to the preacher and dropped it at his feet. And when the mouse tried to get away, when Dixie put his paw right in the mouse's tail. Then he smiled up at the preacher. He showed him all his teeth. The preacher looked down at the mouse. He looked at Winn Dixie. He looked at me. He rubbed his nose. It got real quiet in the picket quick. Let us pray, the preacher finally said, for this mouse. And everybody started laughing and clapping. The preacher picked up the mouse by the tail and walked him through it out the front door of the picket quick, and everybody applauded again. Then he came back, and we all prayed together. I prayed for my mama. I told God how much she would have enjoyed hearing the story of Winn Dixie catching the mouse. It would have made her laugh. I asked God if maybe I could be the one to tell her the story someday. And then I talked to God about how I was lonely. And only because I didn't know that many kids, only the ones from the church. And there weren't that many kids at the Open Arms, just Dunlap and Steve Dewberry. Two brothers who weren't twins, but looked like they were. And Amanda Wilkinson, whose face was always pinched up, like she was smelling something real bad. And Sweetie Pie Thomas. She was only 5 years and still mostly a baby. And none of them wanted to be my friends anyway, because they probably thought I'd tell on them to be the preacher for every little thing they did wrong. And then they would get in trouble with God and their parents. So I told God that I was lonely, even having Winn Dixie. And finally, I prayed for that mouse, like the preacher suggested. I prayed that he didn't get hurt when he went flying out the door of the Open Arms Baptist Church of Naomi. I prayed that he landed on a nice, soft patch of grass.